Have location services rounded the corner from novelty to revenue stream? Are we at the point now where they're a required component?
I think they're at a really fascinating tipping point. I think you have some traditional location services such as Google Maps that are just going through explosive growth. I think Google Maps has something globally more than 100 million users a month. And then you have a lot of the sort of smaller, relatively smaller location services growing fast and starting to build out revenue models, such as Foursquare, which is doing some really impressive moves in the market, both with working with bigger brands as well as smaller businesses. And so I think their revenue is going to be very interesting. And I think you're seeing the emergence of a lot of new business models in location as well. New companies like Local Response, et cetera. I gave a presentation yesterday about 5 emerging business models, and I think there's just a ton of new ways that people are making money from location.
Can you share some of those business models?
Absolutely. So during my presentation, I went through 5 of them, and I'll be posting my slides on SlideShare. They include selling places data. In the past, it was very difficult for developers to get access to high-quality places data, especially outside of the U.S. There are several companies that are now addressing that need. SimpleGeo is one of them. Factual is another one that's doing a really good job with providing high-quality places data for lots of countries outside of the U.S. to developers so that they can build location-based applications. Mm-hmm. That's one. Another one that I thought was also pretty interesting, I think is probably one of the bigger ones, is what I would call the monetization of Slack inventory. And that really has to do with monetizing assets or services that weren't currently being monetized. Mm-hmm. The one that everybody seems to know about is obviously Groupon and Living Social and what they're doing around monetizing excess inventory in local businesses. But there's actually a fascinating array of other different types of inventory that are being monetized tied to location. They include people's apartments with Airbnb, people's couches with couch surfing. Mm-hmm. Not something I do, but a fascinating company. And we're really seeing all kinds of interesting niches being monetized now. There's a company called Breezy Print, which is going to be monetizing, enabling people to find nearby printers. Mm-hmm. And there's a few companies even trying to monetize people's driveways.
Really?
Yes.
How?
Well, the idea is creating something like an Airbnb for driveways. So if you have a parking space or driveway and it's not being used,
sure.
Why not monetize it?
Sure.
I'll give you an example. I live in South of Market in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I have a parking space about 2 blocks away from the ballpark.
Okay.
And I think that parking space is probably worth more to people going to a ball game than it is to me at certain times of the year.
Absolutely. Interesting. So last question I have for you. When we're talking about making money from location, we're talking about more than just applications though, right? I mean, it's yes. more embedded than that. Do you think that we're at the point where location should be thought of as a basic service rather than something that manifests through an app?
I would say that to maybe tweak a little bit on your question, I would say that location is more than something than a novelty, as you mentioned earlier, and I think location has really become context, and it's become an essential overlay of value and information around all the services on the web. So it's actually really hard to imagine a website or a service or a company that can't benefit by developing or using location features. Mm-hmm. At SimpleGeo, we typically interact with sort of somewhere between 300 to 700 developers a month from all different kinds of industries, all different size companies, all different countries. And we've just been absolutely blown away with the incredible innovation that's going on around location features and applications in all different kinds of industries.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it.